I sure hope the camera gives off what I'm looking at behind me clearly to you guys, because that this backdrop, this valley behind me is just freaking stunning. And the right now with the greened up alpine slides there's mountain goats up there, there's a real big deer up there, there's a lot of grizzly bears in that burn, and the slides back there too. And with this sporadic cloud cover and the sun, you know, on the far side of noon, the colors just are amazing right now. So hopefully the camera's going to pick that up and you can see where I am and what I'm doing. And I think I've been home for a day and a half, and I just had to go help a friend put a roof on a barn. Actually, I might even show you some of that, the clips of that, because for the help, we were playing with the drone and having fun with it. And I'll show you what we did today. And coincidentally, this is where my horse, Mr. Macaroni, lays just down below me here. It's a special place. And I'm going to share a couple emails with you guys while I'm here, because I got to head back out to the coast on Wednesday, I think. Got a lot of stuff to do here. And then I have to pack my backpack stuff and all my stuff and drive, I don't know, 22 hours or 23 hours back up north, jump in that same bush plane again, and get flowing into the Rocky Mountains. So, how freaking stunning is this, right? I'm gonna run I'll run the other camera up the side of this mountain here, and I'll show you some views that I have from where I'm standing while I read you this one of these emails. All right. But anyway, before the batteries start doing the typical die-off, let me read this to you. I don't know exactly when it came in, but listen to this. Hey Steve, please just call me Mac. I truly enjoy your videos, and listening to them has caused me to throw away some self-delusion from many years ago from an experience involving both my father and me. To give you some idea of our credibility, my father and I are both Air Force veterans and are both currently federal civilians with clearances at the highest levels due to our professions. My parents were divorced, so I would live with him in the summers in the suburbs of Maryland, where he was stationed. As is usual parent-child dynamic, we did not have a whole lot in common, but the one thing we shared was a love of the outdoors and camping. When it came to live for the summers, we would spend as much time as possible shooting, fishing, and kayaking, and would end the summer with a big week-long camping trip to his property in the Allegheny Mountains of northwest Maryland. This is a very remote property that butts directly against a state park on the front side, and a lake shared by the surrounding landowners on the back side. Restrictions were put in place decades ago to prevent the private landowners from overdeveloping the mountain and diminishing the beauty. Thank God. Most of the residents here are not year-round, and many of the cabins are for summer retreats or vacation homes. This is definitely an old-growth forest with large sections of it so dense in the summers it is almost impossible to walk through without established paths or large game trails. And as you are well aware, this leads to a constant ambient background noise of tree movement, things falling randomly around you, etc. His property was completely undeveloped, with even the gravel driveway leading to his completely overtaken by nature years ago. There was no running water, electricity, or modern conveniences, so the camping was completely primitive, and we loved it that way. There was an abundance of wildlife in the area, and a very healthy black bear population. And with the proper precautions and camp etiquette, they were never a problem for us. We knew the area well, and were never faced with a predicament that made us feel uncomfortable or fear for our safety until this event. We were asleep in our cots in the tent when my dad's dog began growling and was trying to crawl under one of us to hide. This woke both of us up, obviously, and we quietly tried to calm him down and listen to what have had him all keyed up, and listen to what could have had him all keyed up. It was most likely he heard a deer passing through, and he could hear the footfalls, or maybe even a bear skirting the camp after visiting the lake. That was what we both expected. We've even had small mice jump through camp like kangaroos trying to get around the fire pit, which usually makes more noise than you would think, but no. Instead, we heard a screaming, shrieking sound that is stuck in my mind 2 decades later. It was high-pitched and incredibly loud and came in successive bursts of 3 to 4 shrieks at a time and was so close and loud, we were not even sure where it was coming from. This was followed by loud stomping noises and the sounds of brush moving around and sticks whipping and falling. I can only describe it as something running at full speed through the pitch-black forest with no regard for the low-hanging branches and brush. It was big, and we could hear the footfalls, so that immediately ruled out any other deer or prey animals. It was just too dense sounding. We could hear it running into the trees and the sound of it stepping onto the deadfall around us, causing the smaller trunks to seesaw and hit the ground. The screaming sounds and disturbances moved in and out, seeming to circle the camp, and whatever it was had the dog freaked out. He buried himself under our baggage on the floor and would not move for anything, letting out these pathetic little half-hearted growls. I have no idea how long this whole ordeal lasted, but it was the first time in my life I witnessed my dad afraid of something. Even without any light, I could feel the palpable sense of fear in our tent, and I was completely paralyzed between a young teen trying to be as brave as possible and a young kid that just wanted to burrow my sleeping bag and cover my head until it all went away. He was trying to reassure me and keep me calm, but I knew that he was on high alert and preparing for anything to happen. I knew he brought a firearm with him on these trips just in case, but he kept it locked up in the truck about 10 feet from the tent. That's a big mistake for anyone, anytime. And there was no way in hell either one of us was going to open that zipper door. The screaming eventually stopped. We could hear the movement as it turned and moved away from the camp. The next morning we all looked around but could not find anything, and the whole mood of the trip had changed completely. The explanation that my dad gave me that morning was that an owl had been moving through the property trying to scare off a herd of deer, and my mind grabbed onto that explanation as a completely plausible one. I was desperate for an answer, and it made enough sense. We ended that trip a couple days earlier than planned, blaming it on the frequent rain showers throughout the days, but we both knew the other just wanted to get the F out of there and just needed an excuse. So we had a couple shorter trips over the next 2 years, but it was never the same after that, and the camping trips just stopped by the time I was 16 or so. Another passion ruined again, right? Flash forward about 5 years, and I'm on an active duty and stationed at the same base he retired from, same squadron as well. And I decided to take a co-worker and the wives up to my dad's property for some heavy drinking and camping. My co-worker was originally from Los Angeles, so this is a fairly new experience for both him and his wife, and I wanted to make the trip great for both of them. But the memory of that experience was ever so present, so I made sure to keep my Mossberg loaded with buckshot and in the tent just in case. Because of crazy owls, right? Just kidding, man. The first night was uneventful, and we all got hammered by the fire telling stories and joking around before going to bed. The second night was much like the first, but with less drinking due to the hangovers. We've all been there. It's usually the way it goes. And we went to bed earlier. Sometime after midnight, I was woken out of a deep sleep by something, and I checked around. Both my wife and dog were sound asleep, and all was quiet in the other tent. As I laid back down and almost fell asleep, I heard 3 distinct cracks against a tree that reverberated through the forest and had my ass up grabbing the gun case. It sounded close, and I did not bother being quiet. So needless to say, me racking a shell in and stumbling around with a flashlight and shotgun had everybody waking up trying to figure out what the hell was going on. I shined the light to where I heard it and saw a set of eyes shining back from a group of smaller trees about 50 yards away from the camp. They were front-facing and large, but only 4 feet or so off the ground. I looked away to tell my friend what was going on. Nothing there. No noise of anything running away. He grabbed his Glock 19 and light. We did a quick perimeter search just to make sure everything was clear, and the wives were happy and chalked it up to a large deer or bear the next morning. I even told them the story about the screech owl that tore through the camp and scared the shit out of me as a kid years before in the same spot, but never put the two together until I started listening to the stories from the others on your channel. Thank you for what you're doing. It has helped me greatly, and I've stopped lying to myself about what really happened and is happening to so many others. Okay, Mac, thank you very much for sending that email to all of us and sharing it with us via my channel. And hopefully that plane scooting in behind me isn't going to be too loud for the mic. I'm not going to stop it. I'll just keep going. But that scenario, that experience has happened to so many people, dude. So many people, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And it's safe to say now, I mean, it's, you know, you can see the size of the people, the attention these emails are getting via my YouTube channel. And it's a lot, right? There is a lot of people interested in this topic. I have who knows what the ratio is. You imagine what the ratio is between people that email me and people who are so troubled from the experience they had. They are probably not dealing with it too well, and they are not emailing me. They're not telling anybody. They haven't told a single soul, but I will bet you they are glued onto every single one of these emails we all send in. I will guarantee it. And what's the ratio to people who have shared and people who will not or can't share? I really don't have a clue, but I'll bet it is right up there. I have a funny feeling far more people are not willing to share than are willing to share. And just think of what that number must be, right? And that's why we're all here, man. That's why we're all here, and that's why I'm doing this. Because there's still not too many people are complaining anymore. I think probably because most of the people that were getting a little pissy with me, I wasn't sharing hunting stories too much anymore. I think by now they know the seriousness of this topic, and I think they may have possibly opened up and talked openly about it in their circles, and they're getting more information back from other people, not just online, right? So we got to keep the ball rolling. We're going to keep this going, and we're going to keep sharing the emails because, as you know, especially you, Mac, talking to you, obviously it helped you, right? It does put it connects a lot of lines, connects a lot of dots, and it helps make a little more sense out of this shit show that's going on. And there's a handful of people out there. I think I read a couple comments of people saying they're scared. It's been ruined. They're too scared to go in the woods because of what I've been doing, sharing on the channel. And I don't know what to say to that. I still go in the woods. There's sightings right here where I'm standing. There's numerous sightings on those slopes right behind me, all the way down the height of land, on top of that, especially all the way right into town. And oddly, the closer you get to town where I live, the more the activity there is. But I think it's probably because there's 1, 2, 3 main valleys coming together right there in that intersection as a travel route for some beings who prefer to travel on ground, right? Whatever that means. It means what it means. But what I can tell you, people who are getting a little freaked out because of this shit that's going on, I apologize that it is freaking you out. I'm not apologizing for sharing the information because it's probably going to be a lot easier on you to hear it through us than to have it thrown and tossed into your face while you're alone somewhere. Okay? And if I could offer up any advice and any reassurance, it's, with Mac's email to us here, that experience, that happens literally thousands. It's happened literally thousands of times just in North America, okay? I haven't a clue how many times it happens a year because I have a feeling the majority of people who have these experiences don't contact us. But what you need to understand is any predator, any successful predator, any killer of human beings, they don't warn you they're going to kill you. All right? They don't make noises to spook you before they kill you if they want to kill you. So for all you people that do have these episodes happen to you, trees getting broken down, tossed, boulders, logs blasting the side of the trees, shrieks, yells. If you can keep your shit together between your ears long enough, at least you can hopefully remember my words when I tell you if you're hearing them, you're safe. All right? That's on average. I mean, obviously I've said it before, if you aren't safe, the people who haven't been safe and have had something bad happen to them, well, they're never going to be able to tell us about it anyway, right? They're just not. So we got to hope for the best. And, Dave Plyde's going to be more in tune with the amount of people going missing and where and how and what's possibly linked to those missing persons. And that is fact. Everything he shares is fact, okay? That might be a channel you want to listen to, but backpedaling a little bit, what I'm getting at is if you are having something paralleling you in the timber at nighttime or daytime, you can hear it walk when you walk, stops when you stop. If you have something beating on trees, throwing rocks at you and sticks at you, shrieking at you, those crazy, terrifying shrieks, you're safe. And what you need to do is just look at the ground, turn around, and purposely, steadily walk back to your vehicle and leave. And take your family with you, your children, whatever, your pets, and just leave and be safe. And if you don't want to see one of these things with your bare eyes, just look at the ground, Keep it in your mind. All right, I know you're here. I'm here. Let's not ruin this. I'm leaving. Keep those thoughts. Keep them going through your head no matter how intimidated you are. And just march your ass out of there. And go with your gut instincts the next time you want to go back out. And that's what I honestly do. And you guys know, you can look at my hunting videos. I still go into the woods in the dark a couple hours before the sun up by myself, and I hike up mountains like the ones behind me to get to my spot for first light. And I still do that, and yes, I do think about these things the entire time, and I do keep neutral thoughts in my head, where I keep repeating in my head, I know you're here, you know I'm here, let's just frickin' leave each other alone. And that's what I think nonstop, and it's working out pretty good so far. Last fall, I was set up on the other side of the valley, and I was setting up my camera. I only had my bow, but I set up my camera to read a couple emails, and I got shrieked at from the timber patch on an angle like that. The camera's right there, and I got shrieked at that direction, maybe 200 yards, and it rattled me. And but I was in the middle of a bit of a clear cut, and I'm just like, whatever, bite me. I'm gonna read this email, and it wouldn't make sense to share that with you guys on that day, on that reading that email anyway, because I don't know, it just wouldn't for me. It's like, big deal, I got shrieked at. Whatever, it is what it is. It probably wouldn't have done it with the camera recording. It didn't. And I recorded my email that I read off, and I packed my stuff up, looked at the ground, went to my truck, and I left. And coincidentally, just a year before that, I was in there at last light with a friend, intentionally going in there to have a look around, and pine cones started bouncing off the top of the Jeep. But anyway, I'm rambling on. But if I could offer up you guys any assurance to you people who are getting spooked out there, your sixth sense, your intuition, I'm going to keep drilling that into every one of you. I really encourage all of you to look into how to enhance it for yourself. You need to go with your guts, your gut instincts, okay? Because these things are not in the same place all the time. I've had some things happen. You saw that spooky trail camera video I showed you. That's one of my favorite hunting spots, and I still go there, even though that freaky shit was on my trail camera, those eyeballs, like whatever you call it. And I still go, but I go with my guts. All right, so if I ever feel wrong, something's up, something's dead silent, my hair is starting to turn to wire, I just turn around and leave. It doesn't feel right, I leave, and I come back another day. I go to another spot, and that's how I do it. All right, but I'm not going to let this ruin it for me. I refuse. What am I going to do if I can't do this anymore? Think about it. It's basically, it's death for me anyway. Okay, if I can't do what I do, I'm just gonna be living dead. So, but there you go. There's another one. Thanks again, Mac, for emailing that, sharing it with all of us. And we're glad that the emails that everybody else is sharing helped you connect some dots. And for all of you who are getting nervous because you're listening to these emails, that's probably a good thing. I'm not saying all these things are evil or bad, but there is some evil and bad going on out there in certain places in North America and other places around the world. And that's a fact, okay? But anyway, yes, I'm going to do more hunting videos. So I haven't started hunting yet. A couple more weeks it opens up, but I'm going to do a humdinger of a stone sheep hunt video. That's for sure. But I'm going to check the camera and fire it up again and make sure it's running and everything's recording. And I'm going to share another email.